Captain Jake Martinez stood in the main meeting hall of the New Frontier colony, adjusting his uniform one last time. Today would mark the most important day in human history. The first official meeting with an alien species was about to begin. 3 months had passed since they arrived on this new world, and now the Zephyrian Council wanted to talk. The meeting hall buzzed with nervous energy. Dr. Lisa Park checked her translation equipment for the 10th time that morning. She had spent weeks preparing for this moment, studying every piece of data they had about the Zephyrians. These insect-like beings stood nearly 8 feet tall and had ruled this part of the galaxy for thousands of years. Commander Tony Blake positioned his security team around the room. He wanted everything to go perfectly. No mistakes, no problems. This meeting could determine whether humans would be welcomed into the galactic community or told to leave forever. The large doors opened with a soft hiss. 5 Zephyrian delegates entered the room. Their chitinous bodies gleamed under the artificial lights, and their compound eyes reflected everything around them. Captain Martinez stepped forward with a warm smile. "Welcome to our colony," he said, his words automatically translated by the devices both species wore. "We are honored by your presence." The lead Zephyrian, Ambassador Clacthus, nodded slowly. "We come in peace to learn about your species. Your arrival here has caused much discussion among our people." Dr. Park began her presentation about human culture and history. She showed images of Earth, explained human society, and described their peaceful intentions. The Zephyrians listened carefully, asking thoughtful questions about human technology and social structures. Everything was going well until the doors opened again. Sam Chen rushed into the room, still wearing his work clothes from the engineering bay. He had been fixing a water recycler when someone told him about the meeting. Sam was young, maybe 25, with an easy smile and dirt under his fingernails from his work. "Sorry I'm late," Sam said, slightly out of breath. "I came as soon as I heard." Behind him walked Rex, a large German shepherd with black and tan fur. The dog stayed close to Sam's side, well-trained and obedient. Rex had been Sam's companion for 3 years, ever since Sam joined the colony mission. The dog was calm and friendly, with bright brown eyes that seemed to take in everything around him. The moment Rex stepped into the room, everything changed. Ambassador Clacthus made a sound like breaking glass. The other Zephyrians backed away so quickly that one of them fell over a chair. Their translator devices began speaking rapidly in panicked tones. "Apex predator detected," the translator announced. "Biological weapon identified. Extreme danger present." Rex, being a good dog, sat down and wagged his tail. He looked around the room with friendly interest, completely unaware that he had just caused an interstellar incident. "What's wrong?" Captain Martinez asked, confusion clear in his voice. "How do you control such a beast?" Ambassador Clacthus demanded, his voice shaking with fear. "Why do you bring death into our peaceful meeting?" Dr. Park looked at Rex, then at the terrified aliens. "This is Rex. He's Sam's companion animal. He's completely harmless." "Harmless?" another Zephyrian delegate screeched. "We can smell the predator chemicals from here." "Look at those teeth!" "Those claws. The hunting eyes." Sam knelt down and scratched Rex behind the ears. The dog's tail wagged faster, and he gave Sam's face a gentle lick. "Rex is a good boy," Sam said simply. "He wouldn't hurt anyone." This seemed to make the aliens even more afraid. "It shows submission to you," Ambassador Clacthus whispered. "You have made a killing machine into your slave." "What kind of species are you?" Commander Blake stepped forward, trying to calm the situation. "We can explain everything. Dogs have been human companions for thousands of years. They're not weapons. Not weapons." The ambassador's voice rose higher. "We have studied your species' history. These creatures were bred from wolves, the most efficient pack hunters on your world. You took evolution's perfect killer and made it even deadlier." Rex, still sitting patiently, tilted his head at the strange sounds the aliens were making. His tongue hung out slightly, giving him a goofy, friendly expression that somehow made the Zephyrians even more nervous. Dr. Park tried to explain. "Dogs evolved alongside humans. We formed a partnership. They help us and we take care of them. It's built on love and trust, not fear. Love." Ambassador Clacthus backed toward the door. "You speak of love with a creature designed to tear flesh from bone? This is madness beyond our understanding." Sam stood up slowly, keeping one hand on Rex's head. "He's my best friend. He's loyal, brave, and kind. Yes, he could be dangerous if he wanted to be, but he chooses not to be. That's what makes him special. The wrong thing to say. The Zephyrians moved closer to the exit, their compound eyes never leaving Rex. Chooses? The ambassador repeated. You admit the creature makes conscious decisions about when to kill, and you trust it to choose mercy? Captain Martinez tried desperately to save the situation. Perhaps we could arrange a demonstration, show you how gentle dogs can be. No, all 5 Zephyrians said at once. We have seen enough. Any species that can domesticate apex predators is too dangerous for contact. Ambassador Clackthes spoke quickly into a communication device. Council Command, this is First Contact Team 7. The humans are confirmed as a predator species. They keep war beasts as companions and speak of love with monsters. Recommend immediate withdrawal and quarantine protocols. Wait, Dr. Park called out as the aliens moved toward the door. You don't understand what you're seeing. We understand perfectly, the ambassador replied. We are prey species evolved from peaceful creatures. You are predators who have somehow convinced other predators to serve you willingly. This makes you the most dangerous beings we have ever encountered. Rex whined softly, sensing the tension in the room. Sam knelt down again and hugged his dog. It's okay, boy. They're just scared. The Zephyrians fled the room, leaving behind only a lingering smell of fear and a hastily transmitted message to their fleet. Captain Martinez looked around at his confused crew. Commander Blake was already receiving urgent messages from Earth Command. Dr. Park stared at her useless translation equipment. Sam looked down at Rex, who was still sitting patiently, waiting for his next command or perhaps a treat. What did we do wrong, boy? Rex wagged his tail and licked Sam's hand. In his simple dog mind, the meeting had gone fine. He had been a good boy, just like always. He had no idea that his presence had just marked humanity as the most feared species in the galaxy. Outside, the Zephyrian ships prepared to leave, already broadcasting warnings to every civilization they knew. The message was simple and terrifying. The humans had tamed monsters and called them friends. The news traveled faster than light across the galaxy. Within days, every major civilization had heard the story. The humans, a new species from a distant world, kept monsters as pets. The Zephyrian report spread through trade networks, diplomatic channels, and military communications like wildfire. Admiral Kate Ross stood in the command center of Earth's orbital station, reading report after report of alien reactions. Each one was worse than the last. The Crystalline Collective had immediately closed their borders. The Aquatic Federation recalled all their exploration ships. Even the peaceful Botanical Union had issued warnings about the predator species from Sol 3. How bad is it? Dr. Ben Tucker asked as he entered the command center. Ben was Earth's leading expert on animal behavior, and he had been called in to help with the crisis. Bad, Admiral Ross replied. The Galactic Trade Council just voted to suspend all contact with human colonies. 3 different species have requested permission to station warships near our territory, just in case we decide to invade with our biological weapons. On the main screen, Maya Singh was monitoring alien communication networks. As Earth's best communications specialist, she spoke 17 alien languages and could understand dozens more. What she was hearing made her shake her head in disbelief. Listen to this, Maya said, playing a recording from the Tentacled Confederacy. They're convinced that our dogs are just the beginning. They think we probably have domesticated bears, tigers, and sharks waiting for the right moment to attack. Dr. Tucker laughed, but it was not a happy sound. If they think dogs are scary, wait until they hear about cats. As if summoned by his words, Charlie appeared in the doorway. The golden retriever wore a red vest that marked him as a therapy dog. Charlie worked in the station's medical bay, helping patients recover from injuries and illness. His gentle nature and soft fur made him perfect for the job. The irony was not lost on anyone. Charlie, who spent his days comforting sick children and elderly patients, was considered a monster by half the galaxy. Maya pulled up another transmission. The Crystalline Collective just released their official statement. They say, and I quote, "Any species capable of forming alliances with natural-born killers represents an existential threat to peaceful civilizations everywhere." Admiral Ross rubbed her temples. What started this fear? It can't just be about dogs. Actually, it can, Dr. Tucker said. Most alien species evolved from prey animals. Herbivores, filter feeders, creatures that survived by hiding or running away. They never had to develop the cooperation with predators that humans did. Charlie wandered over to Dr. Tucker and sat down, leaning against his leg. Without thinking, Tucker reached down to pet the dog's soft head. To him, it was the most natural thing in the world. To watching aliens, it would look like a human controlling a wild beast through some kind of mind control. Maya brought up more alien communications. It gets worse. The hive minds are sharing stories about Earth animals. Someone found old Earth documentaries, and now they're convinced we live surrounded by monsters. She played a clip from a hive mind broadcast. The humans swim with massive sea predators they call whales and dolphins. They ride on the backs of creatures called horses that could easily trample them to death. They share their homes with small hunters called cats that kill for pleasure. Admiral Ross watched Charlie lying peacefully on the floor. We need to do something. Earth Command is breathing down my neck. If we can't fix this, they might recall all human colonies. What if we tried to show them the truth? Maya suggested. We could broadcast documentaries about human-animal relationships. Show them what dogs really do. Dr. Tucker nodded. Good idea. Start with therapy animals like Charlie. Show them visiting hospitals, helping children, providing comfort. Maya worked quickly, setting up a live broadcast to several alien governments. The feed showed Charlie in the medical bay, visiting a young girl who had broken her leg in an accident. The dog lay quietly beside her bed while she read him a story, his presence clearly making her feel better. The alien response was immediate and terrifying. They're using the beast to psychologically condition their young for warfare, came the translation from a Zephyrian military analyst. The creature establishes pack bonds with human children, making them fearless around predators. This is clearly a training program for future super soldiers. Maya stared at the screen. They think Charlie is, what, a military training tool? More responses poured in. The Aquatic Federation was convinced that therapy animals were a form of mind control. The Crystalline Collective believed humans were breeding dogs to be more efficient killers. Even the peaceful garden worlds expressed horror at seeing children exposed to such danger. Dr. Tucker picked up Charlie's leash. Come on, boy. I think we just made things worse. But Maya wasn't giving up. Wait, let me try something else. She switched the broadcast to show working dogs. Rex appeared on screen with Sam Chen, demonstrating how dogs could detect gas leaks and other dangers. In the colony's systems, the alien response was even worse. Confirmed. The beasts possess enhanced sensory capabilities, announced a military expert from the cephalopod empire. They can detect threats that escape human notice. This suggests they are being used as living sensor networks for military purposes. Admiral Ross turned off the broadcast. Enough, we're just digging ourselves deeper. Maya looked defeated. How do we explain something they fundamentally cannot understand? They see cooperation where we see friendship. They see weapons where we see companions. Dr. Tucker sat down heavily in a chair. Charlie immediately came over and put his head in Tucker's lap, sensing his distress. The dog's simple act of comfort was exactly what the aliens feared most. The willing submission of a natural predator to human guidance. The problem is evolution, Tucker said quietly. Humans evolved alongside predators. We learned to hunt with wolves, to work with animals, to see them as partners instead of threats. These aliens never had that experience. On the communications board, red lights flashed as more and more alien governments issued travel warnings about human space. Some were even discussing the possibility of a preemptive strike against human colonies before the monster armies could be deployed. Admiral Ross made a decision. Maya, send a message to all human colonies. No more demonstrations, no more broadcasts showing animals. Until we figure this out, all Earth animals stay out of sight during alien contact. What about the colonies that already have dogs? Maya asked. Tell them to keep the animals hidden, at least until we can find someone in this galaxy willing to listen to reason. As if on cue, a new message appeared on Maya's screen. It was from an unknown alien source, transmitted on an encrypted channel. This is Ambassador Thys of the Draknari Republic, the message began. We have observed the recent communications regarding your companions. Unlike our galactic neighbors, we find ourselves curious rather than afraid. We request a private meeting to discuss this matter further. Maya looked up hopefully. Admiral, I think we just got our first break. Admiral Ross studied the message. The Draknari were reptilian, descended from predators themselves. Maybe, just maybe, they would understand what the others could not. Set up the meeting, she ordered. And Maya, This time let's bring Charlie. If they're going to judge us, they might as well see what they're really judging. Charlie wagged his tail, unaware that he was about to become humanity's first diplomatic ambassador to a species that might actually understand why humans loved their four-legged friends. Ambassador Tess arrived at the new frontier colony on a quiet morning, her reptilian features hidden behind a diplomatic mask that helped other species feel comfortable around her. Unlike the insectoid Zephyrians, the Dreknari had evolved from predators themselves, though they had been plant-eaters for millions of years now. Captain Martinez greeted her personally at the landing pad. Behind him stood Dr. Lisa Park and Maya Singh, who had traveled from Earth specifically for this meeting. They had decided to take Admiral Ross's advice and bring Charlie, the golden retriever therapy dog, despite their fears about another disaster. "Welcome to our colony, Ambassador Thiss," Captain Martinez said. "We appreciate your willingness to meet with us." Thiss looked around the settlement with interest. Her yellow eyes took in the neat buildings, the organized streets, and the humans going about their daily business. "Your people seem peaceful enough," she said in her raspy voice. "Where are these monsters we have heard so much about?" Maya stepped forward with Charlie walking calmly beside her. "This is Charlie. He's one of our companion animals." Thiss studied the golden retriever carefully. Charlie sat when Maya asked him to, his tail wagging slowly as he looked up at the tall alien with friendly curiosity. Unlike the Zephyrians, Thiss did not back away or show fear. "Interesting," she said. "He is clearly a predator, but he shows no aggression. How do you control him?" "We don't control him," Dr. Park explained. "We work together. He chooses to cooperate with us." Before Thiss could respond, alarms began ringing throughout the colony. Emergency lights flashed red, and loudspeakers crackled to life. "All personnel report to emergency stations," came the announcement. "We have a seismic event at the mining facility. Multiple workers trapped underground. This is not a drill." Captain Martinez was already moving. "Ambassador, I apologize, but we have an emergency. Our mining operation is built into the mountain, and it sounds like there's been a cave-in." Thiss followed the humans toward the mining facility. "Perhaps I can help. My people have experience with underground rescue operations." At the mining site, chaos ruled. Kevin Wright, the colony's marine biologist who also worked as a search and rescue coordinator, was setting up his equipment. Beside him stood Luna, a black and white border collie with bright, intelligent eyes. Luna wore a special harness with lights and a small camera. "How many people are trapped?" Captain Martinez asked. 15 workers in Section C, Kevin replied. "The tunnel collapsed about an hour ago. We can hear voices, but we can't reach them through the debris." Thiss watched as Kevin knelt down beside Luna, checking her equipment. "What is that creature's purpose?" she asked. "Luna is a search and rescue dog," Kevin explained. "She can smell people through rocks and debris. Her nose is about 40 times better than ours." Kevin pointed toward a pile of fallen rocks. "Find them, Luna. Search." Luna immediately went to work. She moved quickly over the debris, her nose close to the ground, breathing deeply. Thiss followed at a distance, fascinated by what she was seeing. The dog worked with intense concentration, pausing occasionally to sniff more carefully at certain spots. After 10 minutes, Luna stopped at one particular pile of rocks and began barking. She scratched at the ground and looked back at Kevin, her tail wagging. "She's found them," Kevin announced. "Start digging here." The rescue team began clearing rocks where Luna had indicated. Within an hour, they had opened a small hole. Voices could be heard from below. 5 miners were alive and conscious. How did the creature know? Thiss asked in amazement. "She can smell them," Kevin said simply, "even through tons of rock. Dogs have incredible noses." But Luna wasn't finished. She moved to another part of the debris field and began the process again. This time, when the rescuers dug down, they found 3 more workers unconscious but breathing. Thiss watched this process repeat 4 times. Each time, Luna found exactly where the humans were trapped, and each time the rescuers were able to reach them. By the end of the day, all 15 miners had been rescued alive. As the last worker was brought to the surface, Thiss approached Kevin and Luna. The dog was tired but still alert, her tongue hanging out as she panted from the hard work. "In all my years," Thiss said slowly, "I have never seen such cooperation between species. Your companion risked her own safety to save others." Kevin knelt down and scratched Luna behind the ears. "She's a good girl. This is what she was trained for. She lives to help people. Trained? Thais asked. You mean this behavior is not natural? Dogs naturally want to please their human partners, Dr. Park explained. We simply direct that desire toward helpful tasks. Luna chose to be a rescue dog because it makes her happy to find people and help them. Thais was quiet for a long moment. The other species fear you because they believe you have enslaved predators. But this creature is not enslaved, is she? She serves willingly because she enjoys it? That's right, Kevin said. Luna loves her job. Watch this, he threw a ball across the yard. Luna immediately chased after it, brought it back, and dropped it at his feet, her tail wagging the entire time. She thinks work is play and play is work. The next day, Thais asked to observe more human-animal relationships. Maya arranged for her to visit the colony's medical center, where she met Steve Miller, a former soldier who had lost his leg in combat before joining the colony mission. Steve's companion was Buddy, a large brown pit bull with gentle eyes and a massive head that made some humans nervous. But Thais watched as Buddy performed his duties as a service dog, helping Steve with balance, retrieving dropped items, and providing emotional support during difficult moments. Steve suffers from psychological wounds from the war, Dr. Park explained quietly. Buddy helps him stay calm and focused. Thais observed as Steve had what Dr. Park called a panic attack. His breathing became rapid and his hands shook. Without any command, Buddy immediately moved to Steve's side, pressing his large body against the man's legs. The dog's steady presence and calm breathing seemed to help Steve recover. The creature senses distress and responds to it, Thais noted. This is not aggression, this is healing. Exactly, Maya said. Buddy is trained to recognize when Steve needs help, and he provides it automatically. Thais spent several more days at the colony, observing dogs helping with security patrols, detecting dangerous gas leaks, assisting disabled colonists, and simply providing companionship to lonely humans. She saw children playing safely with large dogs, elderly colonists being guided by helpful animals, and workers whose canine partners made their jobs easier and safer. On her last night at the colony, Thais sat with Captain Martinez, watching Sam Chen and Rex play fetch in the main courtyard. Other colonists had joined them, children laughing as dogs chased balls, adults chatting while their companions rested beside them. I begin to understand, Thais said quietly. Your species did not conquer these predators. You formed an alliance with them. Both species benefit, both species choose to participate. That's right, Captain Martinez said. We've been partners for thousands of years. They help us, we help them. It's built on trust and friendship. Thais stood up slowly. I will return to the Galactic Council with my observations. But I must warn you, what I have seen here challenges everything most species believe about survival and evolution. Many will not accept it. Will you help us? Maya asked. Will you speak for us? Thais looked around at the peaceful scene. Humans and dogs living together in harmony, working together, playing together, caring for each other across the vast divide between species. Yes, she said finally, I will speak for you. But you should prepare yourselves. The Council will demand proof. They will want to see these relationships for themselves, and they will test your claims. Some of my colleagues have already suggested that humans should be quarantined or eliminated as a threat to galactic peace. Captain Martinez nodded grimly. We understand the stakes. Do you? Thais asked. Because if you fail to convince the Council, they may decide that the only safe course is to destroy humanity entirely. They are that afraid of what you represent. As Thais prepared to leave the next morning, Rex approached her without fear. The German shepherd sat politely in front of the alien ambassador and offered his paw in the gesture Sam had taught him for meeting new people. Thais looked down at the outstretched paw, then carefully reached out with one clawed hand to touch it gently. Good boy, she said, using the English words she had learned. Rex wagged his tail and returned to Sam's side. Perhaps, Thais murmured as she boarded her ship. The galaxy has been wrong about many things. The Galactic Council chamber was the largest structure ever built by intelligent beings. Representatives from 200 different species gathered in the vast circular room, their various forms of life creating a rainbow of colors, shapes, and sizes. Today, they would decide the fate of humanity. High Arbiter Vexhi floated in the center of the chamber, his ancient energy form crackling with the wisdom of 10,000 years. Around him, the council members took their designated positions, The Zephyrians clustered in their insectoid group, compound eyes reflecting the chamber's lights. The Aquatic Federation sent their representatives in mobile water tanks. Even the mysterious void dwellers had come to observe. Captain Martinez stood at the defendant's podium with his small human delegation. Beside him were Dr. Amy Foster, Earth's leading expert on evolution, Maya Singh for communications, and Marcus Day, a police officer from Luna Colony who had worked with dogs for 15 years. Next to Marcus sat Sergeant, an older German shepherd with gray fur around his muzzle and scars from his military service. Ambassador Thys had taken her position with the Draknari delegation, but she had requested permission to speak for the humans. The request itself had caused weeks of debate among the council members. "Let the trial begin," High Arbiter Vexhai announced, his voice echoing through translation devices across the chamber. "The species known as humans stands accused of being too dangerous for galactic civilization. They are charged with domesticating biological weapons and posing a threat to peaceful species everywhere." The prosecutor, a tall crystalline being whose body sparkled like a diamond, stepped forward. "Honored Arbiter, members of the council, the evidence is clear. These humans have taken the most efficient killers from their world and turned them into willing servants. This demonstrates a level of predatory control that threatens every civilization in the galaxy." The prosecutor activated a holographic display showing footage from Earth. Massive dogs appeared in the air above the chamber, German shepherds, Rottweilers, Dobermans, all looking fierce and powerful. Several council members moved backward in their seats. "Observe these creatures," the prosecutor continued. "Bred for aggression, trained for violence, capable of killing with their bare fangs. Yet humans live with them, control them, command their loyalty. What species other than a race of super predators could accomplish such domination?" Murmurs of fear rippled through the chamber. A representative from the Herbivore Alliance stood up. "We have studied human history. These dogs are descended from wolves, pack hunters that killed for survival. The humans took nature's perfect killing machine and made it even more deadly." Dr. Foster rose to respond. "Honored Council, you misunderstand our relationship with dogs. They are not our weapons or our slaves. They are our partners." "Partners?" The crystalline prosecutor laughed, a sound like breaking glass. "How can a prey species partner with a predator? It is impossible. Predators consume prey, that is the natural order." Dr. Foster activated her own display. "That is where you are wrong. 30,000 years ago, some wolves began following human hunting parties. They ate our leftover food and in return they warned us of dangers. Over time we began working together deliberately. Both species benefited. The images showed the evolution of the relationship, ancient humans and wolves hunting together, protecting each other's young, sharing food and shelter. Slowly the wolves changed, becoming more like the modern dogs sitting quietly in the chamber. This partnership made both species more successful, Dr. Foster explained. Humans became better hunters with canine help. Dogs became more successful than their wild cousins because humans cared for them." A representative from the tentacled confederacy waved several arms dismissively. "You speak of ancient history. Show us current reality. Show us these partners as they exist today." Marcus Day stood up slowly. Sergeant rose with him, moving carefully on legs that were stiff with age. "This is Sergeant," Marcus said. "He worked with me for 8 years in law enforcement. He helped find missing children, detected dangerous drugs, and saved countless lives. A hunter trained to hunt humans," the prosecutor accused. "Proof of our point." "No," Marcus said firmly. "Watch and learn." Marcus placed several small containers on the floor, each containing different substances. One held illegal drugs, another contained explosive materials, and the rest were harmless items like food and clothing. "Find it." "Sergeant," Marcus commanded quietly. The old dog moved slowly from container to container, his nose working carefully. When he reached the drugs, he sat down immediately and looked at Marcus. When he found the explosives, he lay down flat and stayed perfectly still. He found the dangerous items, Marcus explained, but notice what he did not do. He did not attack them, destroy them, or consume them. He simply indicated their location so I could handle them safely. Sergeant returned to Marcus's side and sat down, his tail wagging slightly as Marcus scratched behind his ears. The dog was clearly in some pain from old injuries, but he had performed his duty faithfully. "For 8 years," Marcus continued, Sergeant risked his life to protect innocent people. He ran into burning buildings to find trapped victims. He tracked criminals through dangerous terrain. He worked in war zones to detect bombs that could have killed hundreds. Marcus's voice grew softer. He was shot twice in the line of duty. He was injured by an explosion while saving a school full of children. And through it all, he never once turned that training against an innocent person. He chose every single day to use his abilities to help rather than harm. The chamber was quiet. Several council members were studying Sergeant with new interest. The old dog looked tired but alert, his brown eyes scanning the room without fear or aggression. High Arbiter Vexhai spoke for the first time since the trial began. You say he chose. How can we verify that this creature makes conscious decisions rather than simply following programming? Marcus smiled sadly. Show them, old friend. Marcus walked to the far side of the chamber and called Sergeant's name. The dog started to follow, but after a few steps he stopped and lay down, whining softly. His injured legs could not carry him that far. Marcus immediately returned to Sergeant's side, kneeling down to comfort the aging dog. It's okay, boy. You've done enough. He chose not to obey an order because it would cause him pain, Dr. Foster pointed out. True programming would not allow for such decisions. Ambassador Thys rose from her seat. Honored Arbiter, I request permission to share my observations from the human colony. Granted, Vexhai replied. Thys activated her own display, showing footage from the mining accident. The council watched as Luna worked tirelessly to find trapped miners, saw her joy at each successful rescue, observed her exhaustion at the end of the long day. I witnessed this creature risk her own safety to save strangers, Thys reported. No one forced her to do this work. She chose to help because it made her happy. This is not the behavior of a weapon. This is the behavior of a partner. She showed more footage. Charlie comforting sick children, Buddy helping his veteran partner through difficult moments, Rex playing with human children while remaining gentle despite his size and strength. The humans do not control these creatures through fear or domination, Thys concluded. They have created something unprecedented in galactic history, a cross-species partnership based on mutual benefit and genuine affection. The crystalline prosecutor was not convinced. Pretty words, but we know the truth. These humans have weaponized evolution itself. They have turned predators into willing slaves through psychological manipulation. High Arbiter Vexhai floated closer to the human delegation. His ancient eyes, older than some civilizations, studied Sergeant carefully. I have observed many species across countless years, he said slowly. I have seen predators and prey, hunters and hunted, masters and slaves. But I have never seen anything quite like this. He paused, considering his words carefully. The question before us is not whether these creatures are dangerous. Clearly they are. The question is whether the humans have created slaves or partners. And if they are truly partners, what does that mean for our understanding of civilization itself? The Arbiter's gaze moved to Marcus. Officer Day, you say this creature served with you for 8 years. What happened when his service ended? Did you discard him as a broken tool? Marcus's hand rested gently on Sergeant's head. Sergeant lives with me and my family now. My children love him. My wife cooks special food for him when his arthritis bothers him. We take him to a veterinarian, a doctor who specializes in treating animals on whenever he needs medical care. You care for a creature that can no longer serve you? Vexhai asked. He served me, Marcus said simply. Now I serve him. That's what partners do. High Arbiter Vexhai was silent for a long moment. Around the chamber, representatives whispered among themselves. Some seemed moved by what they had seen. Others remained fearful. I have lived for 10 millennia, Vexhai finally announced. I have seen species rise and fall, watched civilizations bloom and fade. I have observed countless forms of life, but never have I seen a predator species learn love. The chamber erupted in discussion. The prosecutor demanded more evidence. Several species called for immediate quarantine. Others? The final day of the trial arrived with tension filling every corner of the Galactic Council chamber. High Arbiter Vexhai took his position at the center, his ancient energy form pulsing with the weight of the decision he was about to announce. After much deliberation, Vexhai began. The Council has reached its verdict regarding the human species and their companion animals. Captain Martinez held his breath. Beside him, Marcus Day kept one hand on Sergeant's head, feeling the old dog's steady breathing. The fate of every human colony, every space station, every ship in the galaxy hung on the Arbiter's next words. The Council finds that while humans do indeed represent something unprecedented in galactic civilization, they do not pose the direct threat we initially feared. However, given the unique nature of their relationships with predator species, humanity will be placed under supervised observation. A wave of mixed reactions swept through the chamber. Some species seemed relieved, others disappointed. The crystalline prosecutor's form flickered with what might have been anger. Ambassador Thys of the Draknari Republic will serve as primary liaison and observer, Vex-High continued. Human activities will be monitored, and any sign of aggressive expansion or weaponization of their animal companions will result in immediate quarantine. It wasn't the complete acceptance humans had hoped for, but it wasn't destruction either. Captain Martinez felt a mixture of relief and concern. They had bought time, but the galaxy was still watching them with suspicion. 6 months later, that suspicion would be tested in the most unexpected way. The mining world of Titan 7 was home to both human and Zephyrian operations, working separate sections of the planet's valuable mineral deposits. The two species had maintained careful distance from each other, following Galactic Council guidelines about limited contact. Everything changed when the main atmospheric processor failed. Sam Chen was working in the human section when the alarms began. Toxic gases from deep underground were leaking into both the human and Zephyrian mining areas. Without the processor to clean the air, everyone on the planet had maybe 6 hours before the atmosphere became completely poisonous. We need to get those emergency scrubbers installed in the deepest tunnels, called out Chief Engineer Danny Walsh. But the tunnels are too narrow for our equipment, and the gas is already too thick for humans to work in there safely. Rex, now older but still strong, stood beside Sam as they studied the problem. The German Shepherd had traveled to Titan 7 as part of the colony's expansion team, and his experience with gas detection had made him valuable for mining safety. "What about the Zephyrian tunnels?" Sam asked. "Are they having the same problem?" "Worse," Danny replied. "Their workers are more sensitive to these gases than we are. They've got maybe 4 hours before it becomes lethal for them." Sam looked down at Rex, then at the narrow tunnel entrance. Rex could carry the scrubbers down there. He's small enough to fit, and he can work in the gas for short periods with the right equipment. As they prepared Rex for the dangerous mission, they received an unexpected visitor. Kliktar, a young Zephyrian engineer, approached their worksite. Unlike the older Zephyrians who still feared dogs, Kliktar belonged to a generation that had grown up hearing stories about the human monsters and had developed curiosity rather than terror. "We have a similar problem in our section," Kliktar said, his translator device working overtime to convey his nervous excitement. "Your companion, could he help both operations?" Sam looked at the young alien, then at Rex. "Are you sure you want Rex in your tunnels?" "Your people. My people are going to die if we don't try something new," Kliktar said firmly. "I have studied your reports about dog capabilities. This creature, Rex, he can navigate spaces we cannot reach and survive conditions that would kill us. And so began the most unlikely rescue operation in galactic history. Rex, equipped with specially designed breathing gear and carrying alien-designed air scrubbers, began working his way through the tunnel systems of both human and Zephyrian mining operations. Sam stayed in contact with Rex through radio, guiding him through the maze of passages. "Good boy, Rex. Place the scrubber at the intersection, then come back to checkpoint 3. In the Zephyrian section, workers watched in amazement as Rex emerged from tunnels carrying messages and status reports from unreachable areas. The dog worked methodically, following instructions from both human and alien coordinators, placing equipment where no other being could go. "He shows no aggression toward us," one Zephyrian worker observed. "He simply does his job." When Rex completed his mission in the deepest human tunnels, he was exhausted but alert. Sam checked him over carefully for gas exposure, gave him water, and prepared to send him home for rest. But Kliktar approached them again. "We have one more tunnel. It's the worst one, with the highest gas concentration. If we cannot place a scrubber there, we will lose 12 workers who are trapped in a side chamber." Sam looked at Rex, who was tired but still willing. "One more job, boy. The most important one." Rex disappeared into the Zephyrian tunnel system for the final time. The rescue took longer than expected, and communication was lost for nearly an hour. When Rex finally emerged, he was carrying more than just confirmation of the scrubber placement. He was leading 2 Zephyrian workers who had become lost in the maze of passages. The atmospheric crisis passed. The scrubbers worked perfectly, cleaning the air and allowing normal operations to resume. Every worker on Titan 7, human and alien alike, owed their lives to the combined efforts of multiple species working together. As news of the rescue spread, something began to change in the galaxy's perception of humans and their companions. 1 year later, Unity 1 became the first mixed-species research station, jointly operated by humans, Draknari, and surprisingly the Zephyrians. Young aliens from various species came to study at what the galaxy now called the Human-Animal Bond Institute. Charlie, the golden retriever therapy dog, had become something of a celebrity. While most aliens still maintained careful distance, they no longer fled in terror. Some, particularly the younger ones, had begun to understand that these monsters were something else entirely. Maya Singh, now director of interspecies communications, often found herself giving tours to alien visitors. Today's group included a young Aquatic Federation scientist who was studying human emotional support systems. The creature provides comfort through physical contact? The scientist asked, watching Charlie gently interact with a human child who was visiting the station with her parents. That's right, Maya explained. Charlie can sense when people are sad, scared, or lonely. He provides companionship and comfort without judgment. The alien scientist made careful notes. My people have never experienced such cross-species emotional support. We are investigating whether similar relationships might be possible with creatures from our own worlds. That evening, Captain Martinez received a message that would have seemed impossible a year earlier. The first alien exchange student had applied to study at Earth's Human-Animal Bond Institute. The applicant was Kliktar, the young Zephyrian engineer who had worked with Rex during the Titan 7 crisis. He wants to learn about partnership evolution, Maya reported. He believes his people could benefit from developing similar relationships with non-intelligent species from their homeworld. Through the station's main observation deck, they could see ships from a dozen different species docked at Unity 1. In the recreation area below, human children played while their companion dogs ran and chased balls. A few young aliens watched from a safe distance, no longer terrified but genuinely curious. Rex, now showing gray fur around his muzzle but still energetic, trotted over to where Sam was working on a new atmospheric system. The dog had become famous throughout the galaxy as the hero of Titan 7, but to Sam, he was still just his best friend and loyal companion. How's the new scrubber design coming? Captain Martinez asked Sam. Good, Sam replied, scratching Rex behind the ears. Rex is going to help test it next week. The Draknari have requested his expertise for their next mining operation. Any word from the Galactic Council about our status review? Maya smiled. Ambassador Thys thinks they're going to remove the observation restrictions. Several species have formally requested to study human-animal partnerships instead of trying to ban them. As if summoned by the conversation, Thys herself appeared in the observation area. The Draknari ambassador had become a regular visitor to Unity 1, fascinated by the ongoing development of interspecies cooperation. I bring news from the Council, Thys announced. 3 more species have voted to support humanity's full membership in the galactic community. The Tentacled Confederacy wants to establish their own human-animal research program. Captain Martinez shook his head in amazement. A year ago they wanted to quarantine us. Now they want to copy us. The galaxy is learning, Thys said. Slowly, but learning nonetheless. Your Rex and the others have shown us something we never thought possible. That predators can choose cooperation over conquest. That strength can be gentle. That loyalty transcends species. Down in the recreation area, a young Draknari child was carefully approaching one of the human families. The child's parent watched nervously as their offspring got closer to a small beagle named Scout.